Hello, everybody. Namaste, and welcome to our live stream. My name's Amber. My yoga name is Amber Jean, and I have over 20,000 hours of teaching experience, specializing in Ashtanga and Rocket Yoga. And I started teaching when I was 20 years old, and I took my first yoga teacher training with Larry Schultz. And I've been on a journey of teaching ever since. And on my journey of teaching, I, when I took, okay, so our topic is yoga certifications. So when I took my yoga training with Larry, I lived at his studio for 28 days, and that was the minimum format for training, was a 28-day intensive training. So I lived at the studio, and I'll tell you more about that on another stream. And we would, from the time we woke up at the studio, from the time we went to bed, we were living and breathing yoga. Okay. So that's a whole nother story of the It's Yoga experience. So when I got my certificate after being at the studio for 28 days, my yoga certificate said that I had graduated, and I have 150 hours that I'm certified with, to be able to, that I did 150 hours in 28 days. And that's what my original certificate says. And then the Yoga Alliance decided that they wanted to put more of a structure of requiring a certain amount of hours, and Yoga Alliance required 200 hours. What did Larry do? He reissued our certificates. We did the exact same training, but the first certificate said 150 hours, and the second certificate said 200 hours. And our philosophy really was that everything was yoga. So how exactly were we counting these hours? Okay. Thanks for joining the live, everybody. Hello. Thanks for joining the live. It's great to see everybody in here today. And we're talking about yoga certifications. And I wanted to have this topic today because there's a lot of newer teachers, or there's, let's say, newer students that are really confused about how much training that they need to be able to teach yoga. And some people, there's also people that just jump from training to training to training to training and have accumulated lots of hours on pieces of paper, but they've never instructed yoga. So we need to open these discussions up of how many hours do you need to teach? If somebody shows you a sun salutation and you read a book, or not a book, a handout on a sun salutation, are you able to instruct a sun salutation? And in my philosophy, yes, you are. So whatever you're going to be learning in my trainings, you're going to be able to instruct what you learn. Another big part of becoming a certified yoga instructor, and this is a really big one for me, is being able to have a personal yoga practice. That's one of the most important things that is going to give you the tools to be a good yoga instructor. And so I know when I go back and I start using the language of Ashtanga yoga, rocket, it can be a foreign language for some of you. But originally in the Ashtanga yoga system, they would have Mysore style classes. And Mysore is when everybody is practicing on their own and the teacher is going around to give Mysore adjustments. And in Larry's philosophy and in my philosophy, thanks for joining the live, is that we've evolved this Mysore practice to be a home practice, or in the olden days when I took my yoga teacher training, we called it open practice. And open practice is when you're working on the routine that you're studying. So if you're studying modified primary series, which is the most beginner friendly routine, your home practice is going to be modified primary series. If you're working on bottle rocket, your home practice is going to be bottle rocket. Okay. And this is a really big part of the certification process, is learning these different routines and being able to practice them on your own at home. So what I've really been working on is I want an evolution to happen beyond this whole concept of becoming a 200-hour teacher trainer, or ERYT, ERYT 500. So these are standards that are set by Yoga Alliance, but these standards are a very Western idea of yoga, okay? Yoga is much bigger than having a certification that says 500 ERYT. And it's much bigger than having a 200-hour certification. So today's topic is certifications. And I'll tell you a joke, and maybe this will explain the bigger picture of what I'm talking about. Is that Larry Schultz made a joke about going to Yoga Alliance and setting up a table and saying, certs for sale, certificates for sale, because there is a group of people that go around collecting certificates, and they collect the certificates, but they never teach. And some of these designer teacher trainings are designed so that you will never be able to instruct yoga. Okay? They're filled with fluff. And I'm just giving you guys the real story here. And that's why I'm starting to do these lectures, is because I've been in yoga for so long that there are a lot of misconceptions of what's going on. And I want to debunk some of this stuff. And I also want to start talking about my new programs. The Emerson's Vinyasa Yoga Teacher Training Program is going to be different pearls of wisdom and different topics each weekend. Just like these lectures are different topics each lecture, the Emerson's Vinyasa Teacher Training Program each weekend will offer different topics. And so when we're talking about the program itself, right now I've announced Emerson's 1, 2, and 3. And each Emerson weekend is a different topic. So I do feel that the first one, the foundations, is going to be the one that you would want to attend first. And then after that, I really want to debunk that. You can take two, let's say through six Emerson weekends in any order that you want. So some weekends will be a bottle rocket weekend. Some weekends will be a classical Ashtanga weekend and learn modified primary. Some weekends will be cross training and adjustments. And so my goal is with setting up these trainings is that each weekend will be 25 hours and you will be able to take these weekends in any order, okay? And in this way, that if you take a foundations weekend for 25 hours, I'm going to allow you to teach what you've learned. But I'm going to advise you that without a home practice, and Tamara, I know you're just registered for the on demand Bottle Rocket training, which offers 100 hours worth of content. A big goal of that training is for you to be able to develop a home practice for starting with, we have routines like MDR, minimum daily requirement. And then the routines build into Bottle Rocket. And then we start to add in poses from modified primary and Rocket 1. And so the more you get into a home practice, the more tools you're going to have to teach. And so this is the new ways of certifications. And you know, and when you're getting certified through the Emerson's Vinyasa program, is it starts with basic 25 hours, and then you want to continue your education. And so, continuing your education as a yoga instructor is a lifelong journey. Okay, this isn't oh, I completed this, I'm done. Or this isn't, I'm going to just keep taking training after training after training and never apply anything and just accumulate certificates. This is about a yoga lifestyle. So that's what we're talking about with the certifications. Having taken my 200-hour training, that got me going, okay? Then I started assisting Larry Schultz in his yoga teacher trainings. And I started assisting my other teacher, Indu, here in Cincinnati in her yoga teacher trainings. And so when I was assisting in yoga teacher trainings, I was continuing my education. I wasn't necessarily getting paid a whole bunch to be an assistant for a yoga teacher training. I just was learning. And so the idea of certifications is that this is a lifelong journey, and we're really as yoga teachers, yoga instructors, working on ourselves, okay? And so my whole journey, you know, that has brought me here, that has brought me into this moment to be on these lives with you, has taken me 26 years of working on myself. And that's another pearl of wisdom, is more of the retreat weekends, okay? 25-hour retreat setting weekends in continuing education. So if you're just joining, our topic is certifications. And I always tell everybody, You never want to study yoga from somebody who's never been through anything, okay? Because it is in our greatest hardships. It is through our loss. It is through our grief. It is through our injuries. It is through all of these things that give us character to become stronger, more wholesome yoga instructors. And so this lifelong journey, what's really funny about certifications, I've been instructing 26 years. I never sought out I never took a 500 hour training. And now my yoga teacher, she just grandfathered me in, and gave me a 500-hour certificate so that I would have it. It was because I didn't need a 500-hour certificate, okay? And because I was actually just instructing yoga. And if you're just teaching yoga, you don't need to keep going up for levels of certificates, okay? You need to be focusing on yourself, focusing on your passion, okay? Being creative on and off the mat. And that is going to give you that's going to help you become the richest yoga instructor that you can be, is working on yourself, okay? So this wasn't really going to be that long of a live today. I have a client coming here soon, but I want to, again, we're opening these discussions up about certifications, and also I'm explaining the 25-hour Emerson's Vinyasa, which I will add to the comments. And right now, I'm doing all my teacher training either online or in Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati is a beautiful place to visit. And why I offer my certifications in Cincinnati at my studio is it's refreshing because I don't have to deal with the politics of another studio. Honestly, I have freedom to teach how I want to teach. And also, stay tuned. I've got a few things in the works, to be traveling to teach, just a little bit here and there. So stay tuned for announcements like that. But yeah, so just remember my first certificate. I lived at a yoga studio. I'm gonna be saving this. I lived at a yoga studio for 28 days, and my certificate said 150 hours, and we changed it to 200 hours after I took the training. So I want to wish you all well. I want everyone to be inspired to think out of the box, to get into your creative self, and mostly we just want to keep developing ourselves and our practices. Okay. So have a wonderful weekend. Got a little Friday live in. So day 3 up and running, and that's really what we're doing right now, is we're just getting all this up and running. Okay. Namaste.